The Multimedia Ninja Podcast, episode 60.
Hi, this is Ryan Biddulph, and you're listening to the Multimedia Ninja Podcast with Bradford Rogers.
Hello again, and welcome to the Multimedia Ninja Podcast, where it's all about surviving and thriving in the digital convergence. My name is Bradford Rogers, and I'll be interviewing some multimedia ninjas who are making things happen in their respective fields and sharing tips, tools, and insights for multimedia artists and content creators. As always, you can find show notes at themultimedianinja.com. This week, author of 126 ebooks, Blogging for Paradise is Ryan Biddulph. As you may know, in this podcast series, my friends and I will be talking about all things multimedia, including creativity, shaping your ideas, and how to be more productive doing it, regardless of what kind of content you're creating. We have got an exciting episode for you today, so what do you say we just let's get to it? All right, hey kids, and welcome to this week's episode of The Multimedia Ninja. We've got a great guest for you, so I'm not going to screw around very long. It's been a crazy morning. We had the air conditioning people here at the Red Room studio, and suffice to say, the filters that the office told us to get for them were not the right ones. So, still $300 later, we got to tune up and they fixed the something or other. I don't know. It doesn't matter because we got stuff to talk about that is way more important than that. And I'm real pleased to introduce a cat that I met, virtually met, and I don't know exactly. I'll have to ask him something on Twitter, I think, and I ran into one of his ebooks, and then I took to heart the lessons contained therein and started trying to up my Twitter game, and so we started to whatever you call it, not correspond, but whatever on Twitter, and he's got some awesome stuff. So I'm just going to go ahead and introduce our guest for today from, I believe, New Jersey, via Skype. It is Mr. Ryan Biddulph. Insert sound effects.
Thanks so much for having me, Bradford. Yeah. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, it's great to have you. How's it going up north?
Good. We're actually experiencing Southeast Asia type weather here, heat and humidity. So I feel like I'm at home, considering that's where I've spent much of the last 6 years of my life.
Oh yeah, I should have mentioned that's one thing that struck me right off the bat that probably caught my eye is we do the little hashtag digital nomad thing here, and I'm real fond of trying to work from JC Sales whenever possible, and work from Cuba and work from South Florida. And okay, I didn't really work much in Cuba, but if anybody asks, I was doing lots of journalism. But still, I love the traveling thing, and Ryan has been doing it in spades successfully, which is key. And where all have you been, by the way?
I've been to a lot of places, mainly Southeast Asia, but places like Thailand, Bali in Indonesia, right. Fiji, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Peru, and then a little bit of the Middle East with Qatar and Cyprus. Yeah, and Turkey as well. So a number of different regions of the world, and just really wherever, as you know, being the sailor, wherever the winds take us.
Yeah. Whichever way, though, you want to go, aim like 45 degrees off of it, because you can never sail straight towards it.
That's a good point.
If you had to pick a favorite, do you have one from all these travels?
I would have to say Thailand, Bradford. It's just the mix of convenience and culture in Thailand and cost, which is very low, is really, you can't beat it anywhere in the world. And as much as we love to rough it once in a while, me and my wife, Kelly, we really do love the convenient aspect of travel. If we can go get, good Western food once in a while, or even go to a movie. So I think Thailand probably offers the best range for us. And that's why it's our favorite. And especially the two areas of Chiang Mai in northern Thailand and Phuket, which is a tropical haven.
Interesting, because next week we'll be talking with mastering engineer Mr. Glenn Schick. I think he is actually in Chiang Mai right now, and he seems to like it a lot too.
A lot of digital nomads. I met two or three when I was there who I've known for years, Rob Cubbin and Elizabeth Kelsey Bradley, two experienced established online entrepreneurs, and they've both made it their home short and long term. So yeah, definite traveler hub and really just entrepreneur hub. It's a very fascinating place.
Right. And you said Phuket also? Was
Yeah,
your
Phuket
other?
as well. That's the big tourist spot, but we hang and chill at the southern end of the island around like Rawai Beach and Naiharn Beach, which is a lot more quiet, a lot more peaceful. So Phuket's awesome, really beautiful place.
Yeah, I like quiet and less people.
Mm-hmm.
That's one reason I like the boat. But what unique considerations do you have to take into account when you're trying to work from? I guess actually you are blessed with a little less headache than I am, I think, because you're blogging, but you are doing a lot of I see increasingly like Facebook Live and stuff like that. So it looks like you got to have. Do you do that when you're out and about as much as when you're in the States, or?
I actually do that on the road when we have the internet for it. So one of the things we look for, because we've been doing a lot of house sits recently, we could afford to rent places, we rent homes, we rent apartments, but we figure house sits take us to these places we may never travel to, like a place like Qatar or a place like Cyprus. We'd never think that when we just wanted to rent a place. So the thing we always look at first, Bradford, is like, I mean, country-wise, but then dwelling-wise, how's the internet? Because it has to be fast enough for me to be able to just upload posts, upload videos. It doesn't have to be lightning quick. So that's probably the biggest consideration, because my wife works online as well. She's a coach, consultant, blogger. So we check that out. We're like, listen, we don't need lightning fast speeds, but it has to be dependable. It has to be up most of the time. So if we get a check there, that's really the main thing, as long as it's decent internet as far as business-wise. Because other than that, like yourself, we don't do as much of the live stuff. I've been doing Facebook Live a lot recently and some Periscope, but my business isn't really dependent on that. It's more just getting the blog posts, guest posts, and blog comments out there. So I have a much more passive nature overall to my blog and my brand and my business. So just because you never really know, even when people say the internet rocks in an area or it's very dependable, sometimes it's not quite as rock-worthy as they say. Yeah. And we've been in a few of those situations. I remember I played some Bali years ago, and the blessing wasn't making any money at the time, so it didn't hurt me too much. But but we were able to get online literally 15 minutes a day. And this was literally 6 years ago, right, when we started our trip. But that was maddening because we were really in a very difficult space, money-wise, energy-wise. We'd made some good bucks, but then we didn't save as much as we should have. So we went through a little patch there where we were like, okay, we can get online for an hour a day. And we're both, So it kind of taught us a lesson that we really got to make sure that it's dependable. And then from there, things started to take off for us permanently. Thank goodness.
Yeah. Congrats. There will be an applause sound effects there.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Woo!
Yeah. But incidentally, in case you're going to Cuba, they have a very interesting internet situation. There are routers in a lot of places. The same provider provides cards for the whole country, as far as I know. And there's like a little scratch off where you get a password that you key in, and it works pretty well, assuming your router is on that day. And the one at Hemingway Marina is like 2 days out of 7, maybe. And so we'd hitchhike or take the little, whatever you call the 57 Chevys or the 49 Packards with the, take those with 5 other people up to Hotel Palco, and they usually had a connection. But
the classic rides.
Yeah. But I digress. I should actually talk about your books and your site, because that is something that really struck me, particularly as we were about to have the Multimedia Ninja book out, God willing. But you have a very unique model, and first I was caught by your website, the Blogging from Paradise, because in a grand detour back to where I started, you have the digital nomad paradise lifestyle, nice destinations, and I checked out the site and the books, and lo and behold, there were like 128 ebooks. Is that right? Is that the current?
It's actually a little too generous. It's 126, Bradford.
Oh, that's my that's my eyesight.
No, that's okay. Yeah, 126. I basically went on this freaking crazy creative tear. We were in Bali 3 years ago. First off, I created my followers, my friends, my rabid loyal minions. They all told me, write a freaking ebook, Ryan. And this is before even Blogging from Paradise. I was doing like a make money online blog, and I made some bucks with it, but my passion wasn't there. So basically, I wasn't there. You know what I mean? So it was like, okay, I wrote this one ebook. I think it was called like the Blogging Manifesto or something. And this is with my old blogging brand. I sold 4 copies in 4 months, rousing bestseller.
Right.
So, so I got that failure out of my system. But then when I started Blogging in Paradise, a friend told me, actually my friend Rob Cuppen, big time digital nomad and Udemy seller. He's like, you deserve to write an ebook, for yourself, for your he's like, just go for it. So I started with one, and it was a little, for me, longer form, about 14 or 16,000 words. And then I wrote one more after that on how to build an online empire with blog commenting. And then I just got this idea, and people kind of kept saying to me, why don't you just write like long form blog posts, and then they'll be masquerading as ebooks, or vice versa. So I'm like, yeah, I'll just stretch out a few of my former blog posts into ebooks. And then I just started getting all these ideas and a lot of blogging tip stuff, but a lot of inspirational stuff I've learned by, circling the globe for 6 years nonstop as a digital nomad. So I just went nuts with it. And 3 months in a row, every single day for 90 days, I wrote and self-published a 6,000 word or longer ebook and put them up on Amazon Kindle. We were in this beautiful place in Bali. I was really in the flow and I was having fun with it. So I'm like, rather than write one and try to squeeze everything out of it, why don't I put my energetic money where my mouth is and act abundantly and not attached to anyone and just keep writing them and then promote them as long as, for the next 6 lifetimes. So I'm like, I'm kind of in that space now where I'm just starting to really promote them and generate a lot more sales and really get them out there. But the way I look at it, Bradford, some people really like the in-depth ebooks if they're reading them on their Kindle, but most of us don't want the next War and Peace. We just want something we could read and use. And a lot of my ebooks are really jam-packed with those practical tips. So you could read again, take notes, grab another ebook for $3.99. Oh, let me grab 4 or 5. And then it's an abundant thing. They're all out there for people to enjoy, and I'm just starting to promote them and gain a lot more traction with them over the past few months. So that was pretty much it, sharing what's helped me to help folks out there through a really good platform, which is Amazon.
I thought they'd just been there for like 3 or 4 years, maybe building up, but it's more recent, I gather.
Actually, some of them have been. This was Bali in, oh man, I'm losing track now, 2015. So some of them have been there for a few years, but for all intents and purposes, I say new ebook because really my online exposure now compared to then, even though I had a pretty decent sized tribe, I hadn't been featured at that time like on Virgin or Forbes or Fox News or Entrepreneur. These aren't plugs. I just want to put them out there.
Yeah, sure. I feel you.
Exactly. But at that point, a lot of people, so a lot of these folks, they're new to the fact that, every day I'm getting tons of new readers and new folks running my ebook. So it's new to them. So I'm like every 2 weeks as of this podcast, I'm putting out a new ebook and promoting it aggressively across all my platforms. So a lot of it is they're for all intents and purposes. It's funny. I'm like my new ebook, then I look and I'm like, oh, I published that or self-published that 2.5 years ago. But again, to a lot of folks, it is new. So I'm like, they're new.
Yeah. So I was going to ask you. So your publishing schedule, or how regular is it, or what's the average then? Is it every couple weeks?
Really, I'm really behind for. I mean, I'm trying to figure. Yeah, honestly, I lose track, man. I'm years behind from when I've actually physically self-published the ebook on Amazon, and many I haven't even promoted yet. They've just sat there, and some of them have barely been touched. Other ones just getting the passive traffic and some passive sales. I guess a number have, but overall, I'm years behind on some of them. And then even when I do release on my blog, I mean, for all intents and purposes, the publishing, it's usually every 2 weeks, maybe every 3, where I release it and do a mini blitz. And that's another thing too, Bradford. I've had to be very much at peace with the fact, with that sense of detachment, which, it's always something that kind of gnaws at us, but I'm just letting it go more. Just that I can't do a full blitz for 3-5 months because there's 100 and something, not 100 and something, but at this point, probably another 20, 30 ebooks to promote, at least somewhat effectively, to spread the word. So it just moves me into that abundant vibe, which detaches me more. I'm no blogging Buddha, but it helps me come more from that space of get this out there. And it's like James Altucher says, the best way to promote your current ebook is to write the next one. And I kind of went gaga or bananas with that. But I really believe that when you have a bundle out there, people say, oh yeah. And I see it a lot of times with my list subscribers. Oh, Ryan, I just bought 4 of your ebooks and I loved it. And I bought another 2 more. And it's like, it's nice. People just have a library to access for all types of blogging needs or entrepreneurial stuff, or even for some somewhat colorful travel stories.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember the one about the lady boys or boy ladies in, was it Thailand there or Turkey?
That was in Thailand, and I'm writing a post on that. I do a page on my blog that I released to this huge travel blogging tribe, and I'm literally writing that. I stopped mid-page because I make these pages, and my blog posts are all my blogging tips. Mid-page right now, in the middle of that, and I stopped for this podcast interview.
Right,
so I'm writing about it, and I've covered it in an ebook and an old post, but this one is strictly travel related. So yeah, being stalked by two ladyboy prostitutes and then chased down the block, and then that was a funny experience.
Now, was that
and scary?
Was that where the brothel was, or was that Turkey?
That was actually. Oh yeah, that's right. That was that.
There's a lot of these stories floating around.
Yeah, no, that the two Thai ladyboy, the gruesome twosome. That was in Bangkok, Thailand, where they chased me down. They tried to get my pockets, and then they were running after me in the street. The transgender. We're sandwiched, me and my wife Kelly, between two transgender prostitute, the brothels. That was in Istanbul, Turkey.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Last year, two brothels on each of our sides, and you have ladies hanging out and everything else hanging out at these windows and screaming and throwing bottles of whiskey at people. Yeah, that was an interesting month in Istanbul.
And you drew a nice marketing lesson out of that I will leave people to find for themselves, perhaps. But
I always try to, because I think it's more colorful to do it that way.
By the way, I can tell people they can find you on social media at Ryan Biddulph. That's like Radio Yankee, Alpha November, Bravo, India, Papa, no, anyway, Biddulph. I got all my phonetic stuff there. No,
everything's fine. People can call me whatever they want as long as they don't call me late for dinner. So, exactly. I mean, I'm pretty much set. But yeah, if you look, once you get to the BIDD, I hope I have that down on Google. I think I do. There's a few other Ryan Biddulphs out there, but I think I've put in enough time where I kind of
and of course, bloggingfromparadise.com being the website with the cool picture right on the front of it. You'll love it. Nice.
Yeah, a lot easier to search for that than Ryan Biddulph, Blogging from Paradise, and I bring you right in with that big nice little video.
By the way, I totally wanted to get into too. To ask you, because you are the expert on this here show, why should multimedia ninjas that are perhaps not strictly blogging, for blogging per se blogging, why should multimedia ninjas avail themselves of putting a blog out there?
Really, Bradford, it's one-stop shopping for customers as you're growing your multimedia business. And then it's just content central for folks who want to digest whatever you have to offer. Because, I mean, people like anything. They're looking to solve their problems, looking to live their dreams through your content. And when it's multimedia, whether it's blog posts or reviews or infographics, of course, multimedia, podcasts, videos, anything. It's a great meeting place for people to solve their problems through their medium of choice. So if you're running a blog or running a multimedia business, you're building your online real estate, a self-hosted WordPress blog is a place where you actually own your online real estate, and then you could sell anything, you could offer content through all these different channels, and you own it. And that's just so important in this day and age with Facebook making changes every other day, it seems like, and same thing with Google with the search traffic. But once you own that and you could sell anything you want, offer any content that you want through all these different streams, it's just a no-brainer because you could update a blog quickly. Whereas a website, it's more static, a little more clunky. It's tougher to get the content out there. But with the blog, maybe take a little longer when you actually prepare it, but in an hour or whatever, if you want to do a more in-depth post, boom. Or even a quick update, 20 minutes, boom, boom, boom. Whereas anything else, social is suicide. Just do it on social media because you don't own that. You don't set the rules. And then a website, solid, but again, a little more clunky and not as easily updatable.
Yeah, so your old school website is going to be, as you ninjas will recall from our web design episode, whatever the heck that was, 10, 11, somewhere in there, 11, 12, 13, 14, somewhere, that your old school website was static, and if you want to change things around, you got to go in there, and if you're linking to another page and you change something about that, you got to manually fix any of the links to it. The blog puts it all automatically together, and your site is kind of like CNN but smaller. And so much more interesting. Depending on what you're talking about. But
yeah, 99% of the time it's going to be more interesting and more positive.
Yeah, I think I am on a news, trying to go on a news fast at the moment because, yeah, there's so much more you get done. And I did read, what was it, on Brandon Gailey's, he does a lot of stats, infographics on the habits of millionaires and whatnot. And one that sticks out to me is one habit that millionaires tend to have that poor people do not have is watching less than an hour of TV per day. Kind of like that one.
It is. I grab in a little Netflix here and there to appeal to my imagination, which benefits my writing and for some enjoyment. And then other than that, like I got rid of cable 2000 or something like that, which is probably, I know a lot of people shudder when they think that was 20 years of life out, but it's just, it really isn't. Because you see most of that, there's a reason why they call it the idiot box.
Yeah, yeah. It's kind of, speaking of passive in not the good sense, it's like just being plugged into the matrix. Please,
that's it.
Suck all of this pink stuff out because I don't need that anymore.
Yeah, you're actually forfeiting that, and it's crazy, but yeah, it's a lot of people they're in the matrix, and it's just you gotta follow this podcast and see what these folks who are really having fun and enjoying the ride are doing and being, and then you learn, yeah, maybe I shouldn't be spending that much time on TV or no time on the news.
You can get out there, walk on the beach, get some exercise, go sailing. There's all manner of stuff to do. And
exactly. Or even try to outrun ladyboy prostitutes in Bangkok, which will get you in shape. Let me tell you, it'll get you in shape.
They're fast, are they?
They are pretty quick, especially when they're going for your Thai baht.
Oh, dear. I hate it when that happens. But,
exactly.
Actually, a lot of this is kind of on the TV and whatnot, on a tangent from there, but I had picked up earlier, and let alone from your various other writings, and the ebook I'm reading now, which is Blogging from the Inside Out, if I'm not butchering the title. You are, I believe, into some mindfulness practice, and I take it that forms a part of your routine. What do you have a specific sort of thing? I gather you probably have a morning routine.
Certainly. And again, Bradford, this is something I learned from guys like Tim Ferriss and Tony Robbins. They're talking on interviews, like so many people have these really diligent morning routines. So I'm like, okay, maybe I should probably try to model this on some level to raise my energy. And me and my wife are really into like managing your energy and just having everything flowing and being mindful, being present, because that's where your power is in the moment. So for me now, it does change a little bit from time to time, but I start every day. First off, I keep myself in bed, even if I sleep like crap, 8 to 10 hours every day. And it's one of the secrets that I have to being in the blogging niche. It almost appears like I'm everywhere. Like people send me stuff to like that. I literally see you on 8 of every 10 blogs I read, whether they're in America, India, Africa, like these guys from these different countries. So like I see how to, so I get my 8 to 10 hours of either sleep or relaxation. This is non-negotiable because when you rest well, your energy will boom through the roof. Then I meditate for like these days, 10 to 20 minutes, just following my breathing, following the breath going in my nose, out my nose. Then as all those feelings, thoughts, pains, worries, anxieties, all that stuff arises. It could be unpleasant, but I'm with it. I observe it, and then I just watch it go. And this just helps me establish peace of mind. And you'll see so many hyper successful and happy folks in so many niches. They're like serial meditators. They meditate every day. So it's just really great for helping you to become aware of what's really going on. So that's a big one for me. And also too, and before anybody tries this, I strongly suggest that you speak to your doctor first. But I take an ice shower every morning for 30 to 60 seconds. And this is similar, somewhat, a little more intense, I think, on different levels because it's the actual water, to cryotherapy, which is slowly becoming the rage out there. People are talking about it. And it's just, for me, in the beginning, it was more about facing a fear because everybody that I know of is terrified to face icy water in the morning. There's something that's so uncomfortable about it. So I started doing that a couple years ago in Bali, which, curiously enough, during the low season up in the hills of Jimbran, it gets chilly. Yeah, you'd be surprised, but in a lot of these places. So I started it then, and I've kept up with that almost every single day, unless we're in places like the one place in Nicaragua, it was like 108 every day. So, pipe going underneath the street, it's not going to get cold.
Right.
So I'll just let go of it then. But an ice shower just to help circulation, facing your fear, it's really good for rejuvenating and just boosting your energy. And those are the two things that I've done religiously pretty much for the past number of years, but then also stretching, some sit-ups, some push-ups just to kind of get the blood flowing. And that's the morning deal. But other than that, every day, 40 to 60 minutes of either walking or jogging or some form of exercise. But that's pretty much been it, because I feel exercise, you really got to take care of your home, as long as you're in your motor coil, and your home, for all of us, is our body. And that's really where all this creating and connecting and enjoying and being present, that's where it all happens, right here in this meat suit. So I'm really big on taking care of that. That's had such a big part of my success, been such a big part.
Yeah, that reminds me of, oh, hell. I can't think of the futurist, but, you know, the body is the meat. You know, you got to, but you got to maintain it like a car, or you're going to have trouble.
You will. Oh, you certainly will.
You may have answered this already, but in our topic, our segment that we like to call "What the heck are you doing?" where we ask our guests what hardware, software, tip, trick, tool, philosophy, whatever is rocking hard for them today, this week, this month, or this year. Other than the aforementioned routine or whatever, is there anything that springs to mind in that's really working hard for you right now that you're using?
Live video. Live video, I'm enjoying so much, and especially here in the States where the internet's really solid. Here in New Jersey, it's good. So I've been taking advantage of Facebook live video, and also Periscope, you know, through my Twitter. When I just set it up through Twitter, live video goes right to Periscope. And for me, Bradford, it's just the engagement. I feel that after creating and having many of them deleted on old YouTube channels because people were kind of dingbats or whatever. But after creating nearly 3,000 videos, I actually developed this little skill where I could look into a camera and act silly, and then talk about blogging or whatever, or life. And the people are like, oh, you know, he's charismatic. I'm like, whatever. But live video, I think, just it helps us dissolve that barrier that so many bloggers and online entrepreneurs forget about, and that's the barrier of this person is words on a screen until I actually see them. Then subconsciously I could accept that they're human, and I could grow to know, like, and trust them more. And I think video in general is awesome. It's so good. But live videos, like my readers send me stuff all the time, like, Ryan, I really felt like I got to know you through your videos, and especially the live videos. And I just think it's something that it's working so well for me, and it really works awesome for all human beings, because we're all human and we just like to share our story and connect with people. Now, the one thing I know that really scares people is the self-conscious stuff. I don't like how I sound. I don't like how I look. I don't like looking like 50, 60, 70. You know what I mean? All this stuff of this self-conscious. But I think live video is the best tool that I know of for getting past that and letting go of those fears, those same fears that strangle your business in so many different ways and means. So live video is really working for me now, and just running with it. And not a huge viewership, but like anything, I genuinely, almost all my energy to devote to the giving, and I don't think as much about the getting. So of course the getting happens easily in a lot of different areas in my business. But in the same regard, I just think those videos they're fun for me. And I think they're fun for the people who watch, and it gives them a different medium through which to learn blogging, which can kind of be dry. But again, when I'm talking about being stalked and attacked by two wild men in Nepal, and I relate that to 7 blogging tips, it's like, oh, wow, that was really fascinating to learn about a very colorful experience. And then it does make sense when, you know, the guy was biting his arm and he wanted a butter roll, but then he equated that to being an aggressive marketer. Oh, yeah, I remember that. Oh, I remember that. He was talking about being bitten on the arm by a crazy man in Kathmandu. Wow. So yeah, that's how I kind of work it into the video and just my blog and brand in general, but definitely rocking out the live now and having so much fun doing it.
3,000 videos? What did I miss there?
Well, 3,000, a lot were deleted before I did this make money online bit years ago. Now, this is like 5-6 years ago, and don't worry, back then they weren't deleting anything particularly valuable, because I was doing videos like this, like the deer in the headlights, you know, when people feel they move their head an inch to the left or the right that a bomb will go off. You know, it's just the stiffness. So they were doing me a favor, but they deleted a bunch. I think like 2 channels I started, and I lost like 2,000 or 2,500 because they're just individuals going through, and people that were somewhat successful in certain niches. They just had a bunch of their followers going and marking these accounts and these videos as spam, and eventually YouTube pulled them. Wow. But it was a favor for me because, like I said, it was almost creepy when I saw myself, because I had so much self-conscious energies, and it was just kind of like, you know, looking right in the camera and a proverbial deer in the headlights. But it was so good, Bradford, because everything, I mean, I joke around about it, like pretty much everything in life, but I really feel grateful that I had that much practice, because without that and without me putting myself out there and dealing with all my terrors and fears, I wouldn't be able to be the person I am now that can maybe show someone, hey, you could be an unemployed, fired, broke security guard with 4 cents in your pocket and be $80,000 in debt, and you could still become an island hopping pro blogger and be on, Richard Branson's blog and as a world authority. And it's just, I show people, no matter where you come from, that you could build your dream life and have fun doing it. And obviously you'll go through ups and downs, but that's really one of my big drivers now, just to be everywhere so I could show people, no matter where you start in life, give yourself permission to be awesome and to live your dreams. And I genuinely believe from my heart of hearts we could all do it. And video is one of the things that has given me this medium to connect with people.
Amen, brother. And you reminded me that I didn't give you a chance to tell about your getting from there to here story, but I'm going to actually direct folks to bloggingfromparadise.com and the 126 lovely books therefrom, which spring therefrom, of which I think I'm on number 4 now, so I got a long way to go, but I'll get there. And man, I really appreciate your time today, and I think you've laid a lot of good knowledge on the Multimedia Ninja tribe, and hopefully we can have you back in the not too distant future and see what you're up to. And we have not yet begun to exhaust your knowledge, I'm pretty sure. So, ladies and gentlemen of the virtual studio audience, please give it up for Mr. Ryan Biddulph. Yeah. Well, that just about wraps up another episode of the Multimedia Ninja podcast. I hope you'll come back next week and bring your friends. Don't forget you can subscribe to the Multimedia Ninja podcast at themultimedianinja.com and have each episode waiting for you. You can also sign up to the email. So we're going to have a lot of exciting stuff coming up. I hope you'll stay with us. And don't forget, if you don't know what port you're sailing to, no wind is favorable. See you next time.